Before we jump into today's story, quick Marvel trivia question. Which movie did Hawkeye first debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Was it Iron Man 2, Thor, or The Avengers? Leave your answers in the comments down below, and stick around to the end of the video to see if you got the answer correct.
Agent Romanoff, you miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
Hey guys, and welcome to Film Artsy, your #1 source for all things films and movies, and we finally got the very first trailer for the Hawkeye Disney Plus television series, and it actually looks like a very unique series that will be, of course, following Clint Barton. And while the trailer was really fun to watch, and it definitely has a very unique tone to it, there are a lot of little things that you may have missed along the way that we wanted to kind of look at and discuss, because there are some pretty cool things that are kind of hidden that you may not have noticed on your first time watching through the trailer. 15 small details that you may have missed from the Hawkeye trailer. Let's go ahead and look at this. Starting things off with one of the antagonistic groups that Hawkeye may actually be facing off against. Now, if you can see in this one moment from the trailer, you can see a bunch of people pointing guns at Clint, and it appears that they are all wearing tracksuits, which seems to most likely be a reference to a criminal gang that was featured in Matt Fraction's Hawkeye comic book series known as the Tracksuit Draculas. They're essentially just a group of thugs that Clint faces off against, and it does look like very likely, just considering the context of this trailer and the fact that they're kind of in tracksuits, can definitely allude to the fact that we will be seeing the Tracksuit Draculas appear in the actual Disney Plus series. And despite their name implying that they might have some vampire-like abilities, they don't. That's just the name of their group. Obviously, from what we've seen from other Marvel movies like Spider-Man Far From Home, we know that Steve Rogers is a bit of an icon after the events of Avengers Endgame, and if you watch briefly in the trailer, we do get to see a little bit of Rogers, the musical, which is really funny because it does make sense that a character like Steve Rogers would get turned into a musical, and even Looper pointed out the similarities between the Rogers musical in the trailer and something like we would see from Hamilton on actual real-world Broadway. But while we do get to see a very brief dancing sequence, we kind of didn't realize how much we need this musical to exist, because there's a lot of little characters in kind of weak costumes that are just so amazing to look at, and it's just one of the greatest things. I mean, obviously we got knockoff Captain America standing center stage, and on the left you can see Thor and what appears to be like a tank top. And while we can't see all of the people too closely, it does appear that next to him is Loki. And then on the other side of the stage, we think that this character that's all dressed in green is the Hulk, but he's kind of scrawny, which makes it that much funnier. And that might actually also be Thanos next to him on the far right side. Then on the upper balcony, we see possibly Iron Man on the right, then Black Widow in the middle, and then of course on the left, Hawkeye himself, or not really, the actor playing Hawkeye in the Broadway musical in the series. So there's definitely some great stuff here. As far as who the two characters standing next to Captain America are, you can leave your guesses in the comments down below. There's a lot of possibilities as to who these characters could be, so let us know your guesses as well. Okay, there's some more interesting things from this trailer, but first we want to give a quick shout out to our Marvel Monday winner. If you didn't know, every single Monday we ask a challenging Marvel related trivia question over on our community tab. So if you want to have your comment featured in one of our videos, make sure you're subscribed, head over to our community tab and answer the question correctly, and you might have your own answer shown right here in one of our upcoming videos. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back into the discussion about Hawkeye. Back when they were filming for this television series, there was, of course, some clips showing a dog on set, and we do get a very close and short glimpse of Lucky the pizza dog in one of the scenes. This is a dog that Hawkeye kind of gets as a sidekick in the comic books, and he ends up getting injured by the tracksuit mafia in a pretty brutal moment, and Hawkeye actually helps save the dog and helps the dog get help from a vet in the comic books. So it might be possible that that idea is being adapted and Clint may have a little golden retriever best friend, which would be pretty great. We also know that this story is going to play heavily into the events that happened during the 5-year gap of Avengers Endgame, but also what happened afterwards, as it seems like Hawkeye has left the Ronin moniker and persona in the past, hence the reason the show is actually called Hawkeye and not Ronin. But interestingly enough, when it appears that Clint is still somewhat being haunted by his past, he does encounter Kate Bishop, who is maybe taking on a Ronin type copycat or trying to take on the mantle of Ronin, which obviously is why these two characters come together in the first place. We don't know too much in depth as to what Clint's story was prior to the little bit we see in Avengers Endgame during that time jump, but we know he probably wasn't up to too good of things. We know that he was out there stopping different crime syndicates, but in a very aggressive way, almost hunting them instead. And it seems like this is going to constantly haunt him in this new series, or at least some elements of that might haunt him and come back up in the plot. Now, it seems like he's trying to make up for lost time with his family, which was the whole motivating factor of this character all the way since Avengers Age of Ultron. But obviously, despite the fact that it's the holiday season, a time where families try to spend time together, he's kind of conflicted where he has to take care of stuff that is coming from his past, restricting him from spending time with his family in the way that you would assume he would. So that's going to be probably one of the big motivating plot factors of this series, where he's trying to leave that life behind but kind of gets dragged right back into it. It's actually a trope that's been done before in a lot of great classic movies and not one we see too often, so it'll be really cool to get to see it in a very different way, especially in a Disney Plus series format instead. We also know that Kate Bishop will be kind of playing another sidekick character in this series, but this will also mark the debut of the character. Now, in the comic books, we know that she's kind of Clint's protege and is learning the ropes of how to be a Hawkeye type character. And maybe this character could lead into some other series down the road, like Young Avengers, which is something that Marvel kind of has been setting up for quite some time already. Okay, and then interestingly enough, in a couple of different scenes, we do see Hawkeye wearing a hearing aid, or it could just be an earpiece used to communicate. However, in the comic book series, it is worth noting that we do see Clint Barton lose some of his hearing, which ends up being another weakness that this character has to deal with. So if this is a part that plays into Hawkeye's story, either we're going to see something that causes a hearing problem for Hawkeye, some sort of maybe gunshot or some other type of injury that requires him to use a hearing aid, or perhaps this will be something established as an injury he already sustained in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It could have been something that happened during the final battle in Avengers Endgame. He was kind of pretty close to the blast when all of the stuff went down with Thanos. Now, this could just be nothing, but it is worth noting just in case it's not an earpiece, and that this is going to play into a role that comes right out of the comic books that serves as the inspiration for the series. Also, the aesthetic of this film is incredibly unique as well, somewhat serving as a Christmas series, which marks one of the first times we've seen a very heavily Christmas-inspired thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We know we are going to get a Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, but this is something that is entirely new. Also, we do know from rumors and also some of the plot things that have been leading up to this, that there is the possibility we will be seeing Florence Pugh reprise her role as Yelena from Black Widow, as the post-credits sequence of that film had revealed that, and also there had been rumors circulating for quite some time that this actress would be starring in the Disney Plus series, at least to some extent. So how involved that'll be and how that will tie in will be something interesting to see, but it is very exciting to see another Disney Plus series that seems to have a unique theme around it that also looks like a very fun story. Actually, we think the trailer not only lived up to the hype, but actually exceeded what the expectations were, and this series may be a really good one for Disney Plus. So what do you guys think about all of this? Let us know in the comment section down below. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on for more videos like this uploaded every day of the week. Also, if you answered Thor, you would be correct, as Hawkeye does have a very small role and almost a forgettable one in that first Thor movie, but he surely is in that movie. We'll see y'all next time with a brand new video.